So Bitcoin is sitting at 51,169, as you can see. And we did see that the overall top, I think, is kind of getting in place. It is very difficult because it is really fighting here, 52,985, as you can see. This was the peak. This zone is critical in a sense that when you go back in time and you see this was actually the resistance in 2021 as well, and then it turned into a support and then it broke and then it turned into resistance again. So when you look at the overall play of 2021, where you have these two hills, one is of $65,000 and the other one is $69,000. The hill gap is small, but the overall story is big because the valley is very deep. So when you look at it, that was the zone. This is more like $32,000, which you just experienced. Bitcoin was struggling with it for months. I think it stayed below it for like a year at least. So this is a critical zone. If Bitcoin wants to break out, it needs to break out of 55 to ensure that this zone is gone. Now Bitcoin can do whatever it wants to, but the overall thing is that it is struggling here, and it makes sense to struggle here. And the overall dumping reaction, it is brutal as well, but it is true. But we need to see $50,000 to break to talk about the 48, 47, 44, all that stuff. Because $50,000 is now a psychological support. We saw how Bitcoin is reacting to every dump. Every time Bitcoin dumps, it is avoiding 50K. We saw these drops when you look at it. This was the drop actually. This was the drop. Every time when it drops, it is holding. So this was 50,625. This time the drop was a bit higher than that one. But that doesn't change the fact that maybe it is going to go and test it. The overall situation at this point is pretty much sideways. If you look at it, it is actually playing between yeah, I know there are fake outs out there, but just to give you a number, it's between like $50,000 and $52,000. It is playing in that range. It fakes out of it and then it comes back in, and then it fakes out and it comes back in. So if I have to give you a number, I would give you 52,500, and for the bottom, I'll give you $50,500. Let's keep it at $2,000. So that is kind of a range. When you look at the overall range, you can actually visually see it. It is actually moving sideways. So it's from 50,500 to 52,500. This week, I will just ignore it. This is your overall case scenario with Bitcoin. And you can understand why is this happening in this zone. Because when you draw the line, it actually draws at 52,700, I think, the resistance line. You can go and check, but the overall action that you see at this point, the size of the candles, they are small, they're struggling, they're not that strong, they're fighting here. So over here, what we can expect is that either it will create a double top, which it is creating at the moment. You see, one top, double top, which is a bearish signal, but Bitcoin needs to break below it, and for that we need 50K. The moment you see Bitcoin breaking 50K, which is way below than this red line, that will indicate that this thing broke out. And of course it can go and retest 48K, and but we will talk about that later. At this point, the top that we have been searching for, maybe it is becoming true. We will be on the lookout until confirmation from both ends, either from the top or from the bottom. We cannot conclude where the hell it's heading. But I am more towards the bottom rather than the up. But that is my personal feeling. I think maybe Bitcoin wants to visit 50K again and test it and see if it wants to break it this time. Sorry, it's so much happening. And I didn't make videos for 2 days. That's why it was stretched to 4.5 minutes.